Hi guys, my name is Yele of Yele Stitches. Yele Stitches is a female fashion brand that makes female dresses and accessories. I'm wearing this nice trouser. I don't know if you can see it, but the joggers are really nice, made by me. And then you see the art now. Yeah, so today I'm going to be teaching you how to cut and sew this fancy art that is going to make you look all fetch with your net outfit. And the best part is it is satin lined. So Trish Ford, if you are looking at this video, just know that this video is for you, my darling. It's for you, dedicated to you. All right, let me take you on a journey and let's do it. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to put your fabric on folds and then measure a height of 13 inches, and the base should be about 10 inches because it stretches. You can make it wider, you can make it bigger. It depends on the circumference of your head. So whatever the circumference of your head is, just subtract maybe 2 from it because the fabric will stretch. So the height 13 inches and the base of it will be the circumference of your head and minus 2 inches or 1 inch, depends on you. Now you get a satin lining. It could be stretchy. This one is just a tiny bit stretchy, but even if it stretches or not, it's going to work with this method. But just for personal preferences, you should probably get a stretchy satin. But if you don't get a stretchy satin, this method will work for it as well. All right, so for the satin, we're going to make it bigger than the normal one because we know it doesn't stretch. So you're going to use a height of 16 inches and a base of about 26 inches. Height of 16, base of 26 inches, or like the normal size of the turban, based on the video that I already put up before. So what we need again now is a small piece of our stretchy fabric to be able to squeeze our satin fabric on. Like, I'm going to show you what we will do, because when I say squeeze, I'm sure people don't even understand what I mean by squeeze. But okay, so you're going to just need about 1 inch to 1.5 inch of this small fabric. If you want it to just be a tiny thing at the end, 1 inch is fine, but I'm using 1.5 right now for this particular cap, and so you can know which one you prefer. So I'm using 1.5, but if you want 1 inch, it depends on you, depending on the results that we get from this one, and you can make your decision. All right, so when I talk about squeeze, I'm talking about sewing our satin on this little a strip of fabric. All right, so remember that this strip of fabric is the same length as your cap itself, as the cap you already got itself is the same length as the formatting you got. So what I'm doing is just I'm going to stretch my fabric as I'm sewing the satin with it, and you're going to use a zigzag stitch because any other stitch might not make the fabric retain its stretchiness. So use a zigzag stitch, probably a tighter zigzag stitch that I'm using. So just tighten up the length of your stitch as you sew so that it doesn't like unravel after a while. All right, so you see the way I did the satin on the fabric. So now I'm just going to sew my former cap cutting with the little strip, and you see that they're exactly the same length when I'm through, and that's the reason why you have to sew. That's the reason why you have to cut the strip to be the same length as the cap that you did. So the strip should be the same length of the circumference of your head minus 2 inches or minus 1 inches, depending on your preference. So I believe you got what I just explained now. So your strip should be the same length as the length of your cap. So I just sewed that the same zigzag stitch as I used before, and you see the little of the fabric, of the colorful fabric that is on the inside of it. So it depends on you if you wanted to use 1.5 inches or if you wanted to use 1 inch. But as you can see, I use 1.5, and you can see what is left of it from my sewing. Okay, so at this point or at this junction, you should probably iron out that little strip so that it is laid flat. I did not iron as usual because your lace, I don't want to say Yele is a lazy girl, but sometimes laziness just used to creep in. But don't call me a lazy girl. So you should iron it and make it lay flat when you sew that particular part finish, so that there's a distinction between the front and the back of it. All right, so now I'm going to gather my fabric using needle and thread all the way across. You can use your sewing machine too if you prefer, but I don't want any mess up, so I'm using needle and thread. And as you can see, as I'm sewing or as I'm gathering it, I am taking little pleats of my black fabric, a little bit of the black satin, so that all the excess on the black satin would be smooshed up into the smaller fabric. So it's like I'm taking pleats as I'm sewing the both of them together, and I'm doing that because the black is bigger and wider and longer than the stretchy fabric, and so it will have more room inside. That's the reason why we use a bigger satin. If you use the satin to be the same size as your stretchy fabric, you won't like it, it won't size you, it will look so awkward. So I pleat a little bit of the black, and then I gather it with the stretchy part, just to so that the satin and the stretchy part will end up having like the same kind of squish or squeeze at the end of it. I think you get my vibe, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so our cap is coming along, and the next thing we need to talk about is the knot on top. All right, so you need a length of 30 inches and a width of 13 inches. So the 13 inches is folded into two, and then you sew it together like I'm showing you, and then when you sew it, you turn it out. I did not think I needed to show that part of sewing it together, to reduce video length. All right, so after doing that, you saw the way I tied the knot at the front, and then at the back you sew it together so that the rough side is facing the cap exactly. So now the knots, I'm going to stitch it on my scrunch, so that scrunch part is covered by the knots as usual, and so that the inside is completely neat. You know the trick. We did that with our former turban video. Like I said, if you haven't watched the former turban video, please go watch it. It's made with non-stretch fabric. This one is made with stretch fabric inside. So you have two choices. You can make it with either stretch or non-stretch fabric. The choice is all yours. Now I'm going to take to the machine the back of it, and I'm just going to sew it with a zigzag stitch again, and then I will show you what happens after I do that. Okay, so I have sewn it with the zigzag stitch, and I'm just going to turn it inside out. You see the stitch outside is neat, and then I'm just going to fold it over the cap. Now the knots, you can attach the knots to your folded part with you can attach the knots to the cap, with a glue gun. You don't really need a needle and thread. If you don't want to use needle and thread, you can just use a glue gun to attach this entire band to your squishy part. All that is needed is for the knot to be on top of the cap and for it to look beautiful and chom chom as usual. All right, so this is the end of my tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave your questions below in the comment section. I always reply questions, and I'll definitely answer you. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. When you watch this video, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you can see new videos. Bye.